Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
This is 510.
510. Oh, wow. So in the streets of Jesse the Suit, 510 MGM National. Have you seen him there?
I have a few times, yeah.
Oh, is he really always wearing a
I
bow
play
tie?
mostly 510 and sometimes, I play mostly 2-5 and sometimes 510.
Hmm. Okay, so 510 MGM National Harbor.
Mm. This is a straddle round.
Okay.
Oftentimes 510 at MGM is always straddle, but this was a game where it was like half and half.
Yep. Straddle. And how deep are you guys?
We're about 2,500 deep. The third guy in the hand is shorter, but that won't really matter.
Okay.
So it's straddle around to 25 under the gun, who is a pro and pretty tight pre-tag, raises to 65.
So under the gun to 65.
Under gun +1, yeah.
Okay.
I have 9-8 of hearts in the cutoff,
Mm-hmm.
and I call.
So under the gun 1, 65. Hero 9-8 of hearts in the cutoff. Cutoff and calls. 9-8 of hearts, of course, is one of the sort of worst direct suited connectors. The closer you are to the button, the more flatting you can do here. I don't know if Jesse the Suit's going to get to listen to this. Maybe I'll shoot him a message on Discord, but he would probably just say straight fold here to the open, which I think is pretty damn nitty. But you can certainly flat on the button, and then of course you're incentivized to 3-bet the more away you are
Yeah.
on the button. But I have no problem with flatting here, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like this is a sometimes 3-bet, sometimes flat, occasionally fold, although I do think that's a little tight. And then the straddle calls. So the three of us go to the flop.
Okay. So straddle calls too.
So the pot's like 210, and the flop is the 10 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of spades.
10 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of spades. So you flop middle pair and a backdoor flush draw and a gut shot, right?
And a gut shot.
Okay.
Yeah. Straddle checks, +1, that's 125.
Okay. Check. Yep.
And then I call. I feel like this seems to me like a pretty clear continue given that I've got something of a made hand and also a good amount of backdoors.
Mm-hmm. I think it's probably I think it's probably pretty close. Obviously, like the more multi-way nature the pot is, the more you have to defend less. But specifically having 8, 9 of hearts here, obviously you'd much rather have this heads up. This actually shows you why 3-betting off. Why having being 3-bet. You just get into a better situation if you're heads up here. But the straddle should really shouldn't be overcalling too light here. I don't know who the straddle was, but yeah, I would probably continue on here.
Well, the straddle was pretty bad. He was a wreck. He was sort of a station, and that's sort of one of the themes of this hand is that the straddle does call.
Yeah.
So we're 3 ways to the turn as well, which is really an annoying part of this hand.
Right. So you get a call and a call. So call and a call. So 375, and now the pot is at 585, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the turn is the jack of hearts.
Turn is the jack of hearts. So 10 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of spades, jack of hearts. You have 8, 9 of hearts. So you have a pair.
Yeah.
And you also have an open-ended straight flush draw as well.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big hand.
Yeah.
Against one pair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is the most interesting street by far. The straddle checks and +1 bets 310.
So check +1 bets 310. So I don't know who the +1 player is, but at this point, It's kind of like this is again one of these things where it's like an approach of player type. Like maybe sometimes in Texas here, guys would continue to bet off with overpairs, but the issue then is that they're probably, if they're so bad that they're continuing to bet off overpairs on a jack turn, then they're probably not folding to them. This guy really should be strong. I mean, the only thing that
Hmm.
you're really ahead of is this like an ace queen of hearts, ace king of hearts, something like that. That's probably going to have and your hand might go check check at the end. So even
Hmm.
though this hand looks huge, I don't think that I would necessarily take it really for a semi bluff per se. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it's just
Hmm.
when that guy bets 310, I think he's got something fairly strong, or he has a very very large draw. And that large draw, if a brick comes, might just give up at the end, like an ace queen,
Right.
ace king of hearts, something like that.
Right. I did feel like this is a spot where if it were heads up, I would be much more inclined to sort of semi bluff here. With but because I have a little piece of it with the nine, and because we've got the straddle, who I don't think is holding too much, I did decide to just flat here. And I did sort of think about maybe, even though it is a big draw, maybe I should just fold, given that it's so if it bricks, I don't really know where I'm at on the river.
Well, I don't know about what you're saying. I mean, if you're heads up, I don't know why you would want to why you think you need to semi bluff. I mean, heads up would be more of a reason why you could call, especially with showdown value. In the fact that you have a nine here, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, so you make the call.
I make the call,
Yeah.
and the straddle also makes the call.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I yeah, the straddle guy, I don't know what he was doing.
So now the pot is like over 1,500, right?
Yeah, like 15-15.
Okay. Yep.
And the river is the 10 of diamonds.
Okay.
Um, and straddle checks and +1 checks.
Well, this is interesting here because, again, like I said, when you take a look at the hand, I don't think that the +1 here is sandbagging a full house. I think it would be pretty poor to
Mm-hmm.
like check like Jack's full here or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that +1 is going to have a hand like he has a straight, like he flops something like a king queen, a 7-8. He had one of
Mm-hmm.
those draws which you're going to win to anyways. So it's kind of interesting because in this spot, if you were heads up, I actually don't see the point in betting against the under the gun guy because if I look at that range and I think that the straights are going to check call and the
Mm-hmm.
draws you beat, then there's really no reason to bet. Where this gets interesting is what does the straddle have? And
Right.
do you ever have to get him off of something? Like, for example, if you found yourself here with a worse hand, like 6x or, something like that, I could tend to see kind of bluffing at it. The other thing too is that but your hand might actually have enough sort of showdown value to
Right.
check back here, even though it gets dicey against two players. I mean, this kind of I don't know what the results are, but it kind of feels like it would suck if you like lose to this idiot straddle with queen nine, right? But the other thing,
Right.
queen nine would be, overcalling middle pair, then turn an open ended. But the other, or just a jack, right? Like a king jack, a queen jack, if you think that you need to get people off those hands. But the other thing here, though, is that even though it looks like a scary run out, you don't really have a whole lot of tens here. When you look at the flop and the flop action, you called the flop and then the straddle overcalled. I mean, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, what tens do you have? Like, are you calling the turn here with queen 10? I guess it's possible. Queen 10
Mm-hmm.
suited, which would be like turned and open ended, and you have top pair, and now you make trips. But to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, though, let me ask you this question, Wesley. If you have queen 10 here and you make it to the river, okay, are you betting queen 10 here at the end? Now, I'm the thinnest value better in the world, but are you going to bet queen 10 here at the end?
Right. Right. There's so many. There's better tens. There's boats. There's
Yeah, I just
sets.
think that there
There.
are some
Yeah.
straights
Yeah.
and stuff that are playing slow.
Yeah.
So if I was the
Yeah.
+1 guy, and I'm like, man, the only 10 that this guy on the button can have here is queen 10, and I don't even know if he's betting that, then he's going to be representing like a gigantic like a very big sort of thick value hand, like a slow played set on
Mhm.
flop, or like 9-10 that played slow and then hit at the end. But then I'd be like, well, what does he do? Like, how am I, how is he finding his bluffs here, right? Like, what bluffs does
Right.
he have? So,
Right.
I mean, I can kind of go either way with it. I feel like your hand might be good enough to win, and I don't know what you're gonna
Mhm.
necessarily get to fold unless you can get the straddle to fold like King Jack or Queen Jack or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I sort of came to the conclusion that if I didn't have the nine, if I had like ace eight of hearts or something here, then I should go for some sort of big polar bluff.
uh-huh.
But although I hate the idea that the straddle might just be like, oh, I've got a jack, I'll call.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, but because I had a tiny bit of showdown value and because it was multi-way, I did end up checking it back.
And
And the plus one had aces with the ace of hearts.
aces with the ace of hearts. Okay.
And the straddle didn't show. As I've been thinking about it, I'm feeling that maybe the straddle had like something like queen jack and just felt like he was roped along the whole way.
I said,
Um,
I just don't know unless I mean I don't know if you're gonna get aces with the ace of hearts here to fold.
right.
Because again, I think that people this was sort of like my approach when I say that like you can sometimes check call when the top card pairs from up
Mm-hmm.
front because you give your opponent like the green light to bluff because they always try to represent like having top pair on the flop. But
Mm-hmm.
if your opponent's any type of hand raider from plus one, when you look back at it, I just don't really know how many 10x you have here. I mean, when you bet
Right.
here at the end, you're basically representing almost like a you might even be representing a full house plus or king queen plus.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's one of these spots where it's a little bit hard to find the bluff, but I don't know if that one would have gotten through. But I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.